Used to do that at a previous company. We don't do it so much where I'm at now. The vulnerability underscores the necessity of enforcing secure cloning practices, sanitizing submodules, and restricting hook execution through hardened get configurations and containerized isolation. Although there was a exploit in Docker Desktop this week as well that makes you kind of gun shy about your containers as well. This also speaks to the patch management and vulnerability intelligence alignment in organizations. The addition to CISA's KEV list signals real-world exploitation, which has already been confirmed. Enterprises must sync with threat feeds, not just monitor CVSS scores, and treat medium or high severity flaws as emergency patches if proof of concept code exists in public view. And finally, the last point to discuss is the architectural segmentation and cost of remediation for something like this. Organizations should segment developer environments from critical infrastructure. That's hard to do, especially from a testing standpoint and authentication standpoint. It's not impossible. It's just difficult, inconvenient, but security and convenience are mutually exclusive. When immediate patching isn't feasible, isolating Git usage and limiting which systems can execute post-checkout actions helps reduce the blast radius. This might also inform risk-based decisions about workload placement and pipeline redundancy in the future. So, not a whole lot more to say about that. Another risk to look out for, but I think my emphasis on that would be not the vulnerability or the attack itself, but the shift in tactics and malicious attackers coming in from a different vector at this point that needs to be watched. We do have a third segment this week that's kind of a review, kind of wonky, didn't really fit in anywhere else, but it was something I wanted to talk about. So we'll be right back and we'll talk about that.
Insights into Teens, a podcast series exploring the issues and challenges of today's youth. Talking to real teens about real teen problems. Explore issues from braces to puberty, social anxiety to financial responsibility. Each week, we talk about the topics concerning today's youth. We look at how the issues affect teens, how to cope with these issues, and how parents, friends, and loved ones can help teens handle these challenges. Check out our video episodes on youtube.com/insightsintothings. Catch our audio versions on podcast.insightsintoteens.com or on the web at insightsintothings.com.
Welcome back to Insights into Technology. I wanted to talk a little bit about the Gamefold table from Yarrow Studios. Now, this is something, yes, it's not strictly technology, and we don't normally do reviews here, but I think it being a Kickstarter funded project, I think it certainly fit into what we do here. This was supposed to be a foldable gaming table that promised portability, versatility, and modular design for tabletop gamers. We do D&D in my house from time to time, and we play typically on it's a 40-inch digital gaming board that I have animated maps that I can put up on. It's built through a 40-inch TV into a frame that's a tabletop frame. So we throw a lot of technology. I throw a lot of technology into my D&D to try to capture the environment. And this was a very unique project that came out on Kickstarter a couple of years back. I forget when exactly it came out. So it was a table, a folding table, and I think I can show you the video here. It was a folding table that had a rail system on it, and that rail system allowed you to connect any number of accessories, shelves, phone holders, drink holders. They had a dice bin that you could slide around the entire table. It was a really slick idea. It was very novel, and it looked like it would be perfect for my gaming. It delivered on some of that promise. What it really delivered was a year of delays, poor communication, and a final product that feels nothing like what was advertised. Full disclosure, I paid regular Kickstarter prices for the table and an accessory set, which we're about to review. This was not given to me by Yarrow Studios for the purposes of review. And as such, you're going to get a brutally honest review and my experience with the product so far. Just be warned. So the blunt truth, the table finally arrived after multiple missed deadlines, countless redesigns, and refund requests that were ignored entirely from me. The setup was promised to be quick. It's not. It was promised to be simple. It's not. And it's definitely not portable in the sense of it's a pain in the ass to move around. It's so heavy and it's awkward. There's no easy way to carry it. There's no comfortable way to carry it unless you opted for additional accessories. So when I first invested in the Kickstarter, there was a hefty price. It wasn't cheap. And that promised to give you, all the accessories. It gave you the table. And then as the project dragged on, they kept coming out with more accessories and more add-ons and more redesigns. And it got to the point where it was such an over-bloated product, and it hadn't even come out yet. The so-called rail system, one of the key selling points, is useless without the accessories. I got the table. I have no accessories. What's the point? They weren't included with the table despite the package including them. Why these were shipped separately, I just saw a notification or an update today on the project that shipments to Europe are about to start, including accessories, which doesn't help. So I have no idea when I'm getting mine. I was told that they will be coming later. There have been stories about shipping issues and packaging issues and tariff issues. And, if these guys wanted to do something constructive, they could write an excuse book at this point. They've had so many excuses on this. The design that I got was so far removed from the original promo materials, it's basically a different product. And it's one that's overbuilt. It's impractical, and it's borderline unusable for its target audience. There were no printed instructions on the box. You had a QR code and had to have an internet connection and a phone or something to put it onto, and then you're trying to look at how to assemble these small parts on a tiny screen on your phone. It was just a terrible experience trying to figure out how to put the thing together. And then once you do have it together, it needs to be assembled every time. There are angle brackets that you have to take off in order to close the legs. The legs start out short and have spring-loaded releases that you have to expand the legs to get them to a height that's usable, but you can't fold it back up like that. You have to close the legs down. They have a vertical support pole in the middle that doesn't even attach. You have to put it on every time that you use the thing. There was a holder on the back of the table to put it in, but that holder broke off within the first 15 minutes of trying to work with the table. It was supposed to have a handle on it. I asked support about the handle and was told that they decided to do away with the table because you can just use the rails. Well, yeah, you could, but you need to use heavy utility gloves if you're going to be doing anything with the rails, because they'll cut into your fingers because of how heavy this thing is and how sharp the rails are. Is it sturdy? Yeah. Once you take the 15 minutes, and the